Community's leaders, newsmakers, and people in the know. You'll hear about the hot topics that affect all our lives in Yavapai County. And now here's today's County-Wide.
Welcome to County-Wide. I'm Kyle Benedict. Today we got a great show for you. We're going to be talking basically mobile technology and how that impacts student success and the impact it has on student success. Not too long ago we had NAU in here talking about how technology in general is impacting childhood development, and that's relatively new, and a lot of studies are going on to really find out how it's developing childhood development. So we actually have a professor from Yavapai College here, Dr. Mark Shelley. He is a professor of sociology and psychology at Yavapai College, and in the fall of 2015 he was awarded sabbatical for a research project titled Digital Narcotics, the Impact of Personal Mobile Technology on Student Success. So he's here to talk about that today. Thank you so much for being here.
My pleasure.
So I think it's a great, first off, it's a huge topic. I mean, everybody has cell phones in their pockets, tablets, laptops, anything. But I think the key here is mobile technology, personal mobile technology. So first off, regarding this research project, how did it come about and what was the overall goal?
Well, I was teaching what we call our first year experience class. These are students brand new to college, some of them right out of high school, some of them from the workplace going to college for the first time. And this course is meant to introduce people on basically how to do college. Okay, so I was teaching this course, and we were doing this segment on time management. So the question was, what's your greatest time waster? I just threw it out there as an assignment, not really having any expectations. 18 out of 21 of the students said, mobile technology is my biggest distraction. It distracted them from studying, from their sleep, from their relationships. And that was kind of a wake-up call on me. I see people on cell phones all the time.
Right.
But I guess it just hit me when the students responded. And they would say, it's such a waste of time, but I can't quit. I just can't quit.
Man, so in terms of in the classroom, over the years, how have you seen, I guess, the introduction of cell phones in the classroom, and what have you seen over your years, how that's impacting students?
Well, I've been teaching for about 33 years full-time at the college level. And so when I started teaching, nobody had cell phones, nobody had anything. And what I found now is students are constantly distracted. In fact, one researcher called it continual partial attention. We're paying attention to everything, but not fully, ever. And so students, will be on their phone, so that if they're on their phone, they can't pay fully attention to what the instructor is saying. They can't pay fully attention to what their friends are saying. And so it's this distraction that's become the new thing. My research said that 98% of our students have cell phones, which is about everybody,
right.
And about 85% have smartphones. So we basically saturated the market. That's why every 2 years you have to get a new cell phone, because the only way they can make money is to sell you a new phone.
I got a payment plan for one
That's right.
now. Like, how ridiculous is that? But talking about, in the classroom, I remember in college, Facebook was, huge. Twitter, not so much then, but I remember sitting in class, maybe in the middle rows, looking at the people in front of me, and they had their laptops out, right, taking notes. Then they would switch over to Facebook, and they'd be on Facebook for 5-10 minutes, and then go back to their notes and just jot down whatever they heard that they think they might need to know. So in terms of the actual research, how many students are we talking here, did you talk to, and kind of what were your findings?
I surveyed 636 of our students, which is, in research terms, that's a pretty big sample. About 8%. It mirrored the college population. We had respondents anywhere from 14 to 80 years old. And so we had because the community college, unlike the university who gets mostly traditional students, we have people from all walks of life, people just starting, people re-careering, people who are retired, who are coming back for personal enrichment. So it was a really good sample. And so 636 students, over 50 classes, online, in person. So I tried to get a really broad representative sample of our population.
And out of all of your research, and we'll get into it here as the show progresses, but if you had to pick one area that was the most shocking to you in terms of what you found talking to the students out there on how they're using their mobile devices, what was the most shocking thing you found out?
I think there were two. One is how they hate email.
Really?
And our whole system of communication at the college is based around email.
Right.
That was the least, even less than anything else. They just hated email. And the other thing was how many students said they were addicted or possibly addicted to their technology. And this is just asking them. So for them to admit that was pretty amazing.
Yeah, I mean, just that's the thing. When you ask somebody, hey, are you addicted to your phone? Are they going to give you a truthful answer or not? So a majority of them were saying they were addicted.
We had about 11% who said, I'm definitely addicted. Wow. And another about 45% who said, yeah, I'm probably addicted. And so that's 2/3 of our students who identify that they have some kind of overdependence on their technology.
So when you break down how they're using technology on their mobile devices, again, that's kind of the big part of this, personal mobile devices. How are they using those devices, and what's the breakdown there?
Well, number one is texting. Number two, believe it or not, is using it as a phone, which surprised me. Nobody uses their phone as a phone anymore. Number three is social media. Okay, the bottom ones are texting, or email, and schoolwork.
Oh wow, yeah. See, to me, the not wanting to use email is kind of surprising to me. Yeah. And the text messaging, I mean, that I think everybody is at fault for, staring at their phone. But social media, I mean, that's a big one right now. Yeah. And how, I guess maybe let's talk about the goods and the bads with cell phones, for example. Okay. There's a lot of good things with cell phones, right? That you
absolutely. Technology has done so much for us. I probably wouldn't see pictures of my grandkids very often if I didn't have technology. We have information. I can look up my favorite restaurant. I can make a call. Of course, in emergencies, we now have, if we have an accident or we see an accident, we can report it. So I'm not anti-technology at all. But what I've realized is that we pay more attention to what technology does for us and ignore what technology is doing to us. Like the person who came on talking about child development, there's research that says it actually changes our brain structure the more we're on technology. And when they do brain scans of people who are consumed with technology, they mirror the brain scans of people on cocaine.
Oh, wow.
So it's that addictive.
Well, I think about with social media. I mean, how many times do you just get on social media and you're scrolling through?
Exactly.
I mean, you see pictures of your grandkids, or if you're on Twitter, you see, I don't know, a picture that you like, or you think it's fun. You see the little puppy, right, jumping around.
Sure.
And then next thing you know, you're just scrolling. You're not even really comprehending. And maybe this is just me talking. Every now and then I get into that little thing.
We all get sucked into that.
Yeah, so it seems like there's misuse with it, it's fine, right? Get distracted and sucked into Twitter or Facebook, that's fine. But it seems like the way we're using it, and there's a lot of misuse and the distractions, I think, that it creates. I mean, we have DPS talking about distracted driving all the time. Of course, with the last presidential election, we had Twitter was huge. So I think there's all these, the fact that everybody has it in their pocket is it's just so easily accessible. I mean, you're sitting in the line at the grocery store, let's pull out my phone and just see what's going on. And then next thing you know, you're just randomly surfing. So, okay, well, we're going to take a first break. When we come back, we'll talk about how different generations are using their phones and their laptops, and how that kind of differs between younger college students and then, as Dr. Shelley mentioned, maybe the older students that are pre-changing their career. So this is Countywide. We'll be right back with Dr. Mark Shelley when we come back. See you in a few minutes.
Hello, I'm Jen Cohen, host of Verde Valley TV's hit TV show, The Verde Valley Experience. On each episode, we feature local organizations, nonprofits, persons of interest, events, activities, and great local musicians. It's informative, it's entertaining, it's fun. It's the Verde Valley Experience.
Do you ever wonder where your money goes once you've spent it? When you purchase locally, like at this neighborhood coffee shop, the money circles back into your community. The local owner, in turn, hires a local bookkeeper, graphic designer, or web developer when the national chain does not. Supporting locally owned businesses helps the local economy, schools and libraries, and it creates additional jobs for people you know who live and work around you, right in your community.
Hi, I'm Jen Cohen. Join me now through Valentine's Day for our Shop Local First Showcase presented by Local First Arizona and Verde Valley TV. On this program, we'll showcase various local businesses that can help you with your Valentine's Day planning and gift buying.
Stand with me. Be drug-free.
Stand with me. Be drug-free.
To make a difference, we must stand together.
Stand with me. Be drug-free. Supporting our families and listening to our teens.
Stand with me. Be drug-free.
Stand with me. Be drug-free.
We are all one. No one is immune.
Stand with me. Be drug-free.
Let's stand together for a healthier community.
Stand with me. Be drug-free.
Welcome back to Countywide. I'm Kyle Benedict, sitting down with Yavapai College professor of sociology and psychology, Dr. Mark Shelley. He is talking about his research project titled Digital Narcotics, the Impact of Personal Mobile Technology on Student Success. And we talked about how, a handful of students, a good number of students admitted that they might be addicted to their cell phone, for example.
Absolutely.
So I guess the question is, why do you think students or just the population in general get addicted to cell phones? Why do you think that is?
Well, number one is the designers aren't stupid. They've designed technology, so especially mobile technology, so we get hooked into it. So everything's available to us. We've actually changed the way we see things. For instance, an emergency. How do we define an emergency? Well, now that we have mobile technology, anything's an emergency, so we use that as kind of an excuse to keep our cell phone on all the time, always with us. I think a lot of insecurity.
Yeah.
I think I had a student, this was really sad, who wrote in the research I did. She said, I really don't want to be on Facebook, but if I'm not on Facebook, I'm nothing. I'm nobody.
Wow.
And so that kind of insecurity, I think, to be connected, but it's not a genuine human connection, it's a false connection.
Well, you have all these apps now. I mean, there's hundreds of thousands of apps out there. And
sure.
Instagram, you post a picture. You can take a picture of yourself, right? The selfie. Everyone knows about the selfie. And next thing you know, you got likes rolling in.
Yeah.
And it seems like that's when people are constantly every 10 minutes going back and checking, okay, how many people saw my photo or my video and how many people liked it and what does that say about me? And it seems like that constant connection to your friends. And I think in your presentation you talked about being tethered to just the world.
Yeah.
And the generation where, and I'm not saying it's my generation, but where maybe when they were kids, didn't have the internet, didn't have technology, really anything. It was reading newspapers and reading books and all that stuff. And now we're having people who are born constantly connected to technology and the world around you. And there's a lot of good things, as you mentioned, that come with that, and a lot of great improvements, but it's progressing so quickly. So in terms of, where we go from here, actually, you know what? I want to talk about shower thoughts.
Okay.
Because that was
Sure.
very, very interesting to me. Shower thoughts. And where did that phrase come from and what does that mean?
That actually came from a student too. I was presenting this in a class I teach called Technology and Human Values. And as we were talking about this, one of the students' eyes got real big. A big burly guy, plays basketball. He says, wow. He says, this explains shower thoughts. And all of a sudden it clicked that when we aren't distracted, and we know this from research, we're more creative, we're more thoughtful, we think more deeply, we think about things we would think about when we're distracted by technology. And so that explains, when you're writing music, why you have you get over that block while you're in a shower, or while we're driving down the road with the radio off, then we think of something important. The same applies when we're talking to people. If we're distracted by technology, then we aren't deeply involved in the conversation. Not on an emotional level, not on a personal level. And so when we put those distractions away, one of the most interesting pieces of research I came across was the fact that even the presence of a cell phone on a table changes the depth of the conversation.
Really?
Yes. If your cell phone's in your pocket, you'll have a different conversation than if your cell phone is sitting on the table, even if it's face down.
Why do you think that is?
There's a sense of anticipation. It's going to go off. I'm going to get a message. Somebody's going to call me. Somebody's going to text me. I'm going to get a tweet. Okay? And so your attention is divided between your cell phone and the person you're talking to.
Wow. So in terms of interaction, how are you seeing that? I mean, in front of your eyes, you're dealing with students on a daily basis. How are you seeing interaction changing and communication skills changing because of this?
Well, one of the things we talked about before the show was how people who are immersed in technology are less likely to take risks in the real world. The internet world, the cyber world is pretty safe. You're pretty protected and hidden. But even saying going up and talking to somebody becomes much more scary if you don't have practice doing that.
Right.
If you just text them instead.
Yeah, I mean, asking somebody out on a date.
Absolutely.
Or to go have a meeting at lunch or something. I mean,
Absolutely.
It seems like people have their confidence is higher when they're behind a screen.
Sure.
Or they're sitting at their computer typing out an email, or some of the comments on social media, just on a national scale, are just unbelievable what people say behind the comfort of their computer. It's unbelievable.
It's interesting that when I talk to students informally, they admit that their Facebook profile or their Instagram profile is not their real self. And so what they're putting out there is the way they would like to be seen instead of the way they really see themselves. So it's very nerve-wracking to them when they actually meet somebody who has, say, read their profile, because they say, wow, am I going to match? Is the real experience going to match my profile?
Wow, that's amazing. I mean, it's just amazing how, and where that's going to go in the future, and how that is that going to lead to. I mean, is a lot of questions kind of surrounding this topic. When we talk about different generations, and we kind of covered how a lot of good things with a cell phone or laptops, you can use it as a tool. Right. A lot of great things you can do. I mean, you can Google something, and something that might have taken you 4 hours to research.
Exactly.
You got it right there. So when you look at generations, how are they using technology, and what's the difference between the younger folks versus the older folks?
Well, it's interesting because this all started out with an argument that a guy by the name of Mark Prinsky, who was a video game developer, he put forward this idea of a digital native versus a digital immigrant. Digital natives are those who grew up with technology. Digital immigrants are old fogies like me who, my reward in typing class was using the electric typewriter. That was the big thing. And the myth said that if your kids say they need technology, listen to them, because you digital immigrants are stupid, you don't know anything. Your kids know everything. And so listen to them. But as the research went on, by the way, that's a great way to sell technology. And so, but as I looked at the data from my research, I found that wasn't so true. First of all, age had very little effect. For every year older you are, it's only about 4 minutes less that you spend on technology.
Really?
And so, older people are spending as much time on technology. So that we hear, oh, all these young people, they're on their technology all the time. So are the old people. So that's not a very valid critique. But what I found is that because there's very little difference in the time we spend, it's how we spend technology. So one group I call the analogs, those over 50, and they're the ones that grew up without any digital technology. And so they basically see technology as tools. This is great. Instead of going to the Encyclopedia Britannica, I can go to Google and find out the same information real quickly. But then those between 30 and 50 are kind of the in-between generation. Those are like my daughters, who are in their 30s now. Digital technology was just coming into the fray when they were getting out of school. They were late high school or early college. They see communication, or they see technology basically as communication. And so now as parents between 30 and 50, they use technology to surveil their kids. So they can track their location on GPS. They can they can check up on them with their cell phone, that kind of thing. Plus they're the biggest users of like Facebook and those kind of things. The younger students, those under 35, have grown up with technology, okay? And so I call them the internets. They see technology as basically personal entertainment.
Yeah. Oh, that's that. I mean, I definitely get that you have all the social media apps
Right.
and then everything
Exactly.
in addition to that, and that's where the distraction comes in.
And so it's not that the different generation use technology more or less. It's they see it as a different tool.
Yeah, that's what's amazing. I mean, everyone's using their phone and just technology in general a ton. It's just how they're using it. So we're going to take another break. When we come back, we'll talk briefly about how, as a professor, as a teacher, how do you deal with this, with just mobile devices being used so much? That's going to be the topic of conversation when we come back. See you in a couple minutes.
Hello, I'm Jen Cohen, host of Verde Valley TV's hit TV show, The Verde Valley Experience. On each episode, we feature local organizations, nonprofits, persons of interest, events, activities, and great local musicians. It's informative, it's entertaining, it's fun. It's the Verde Valley Experience.
You're gonna take good care of him, right?
Oh, like he was my own dog. Trust me.
Oh, that's good. Not my baby!
Sorry.
You don't want your groomer distracted. No one wants you distracted behind the wheel. It only takes 1 second to change your life forever. Distracted driving involves anything that takes your focus off the road.
Hi, I'm Jen Cohen. Join me now through Valentine's Day for our Shop Local First Showcase, presented by Local First Arizona and Verde Valley TV. On this program, we'll showcase various local businesses that can help you with your Valentine's Day planning and gift buying.
Stand with me. Be drug-free.
Stand with me. Be drug-free.
To make a difference, we must stand together.
Stand with me. Be drug-free. Supporting our families and listening to our teens.
Stand with me. Be drug-free.
Stand with me. Be drug-free.
We are all one. No one is immune.
Stand with me. Be drug-free.
Let's stand together for a healthier community.
Stand with me. Be drug-free.
Welcome back to Countywide. Kyle Benedict sitting down with Yavapai College professor Dr. Mark Shelley, talking about mobile technology and the impact that has on student success. Real quick, we're almost out of time, but as a professor, teacher, how do you deal with breaking through to students in this digital age?
One of my favorite books that I discovered during my research was Shelley Turkle, who's the professor of technology and culture at MIT. And the title of her book is Reclaiming Conversation. And so what I've realized is that students really don't like being tethered to technology. So personally, I've gone to what I've called a powered off classroom. And I really emphasize a conversation, no cell phones, no texting in the class, and try to engage students in the conversation. Last week I had one of my students, and we're only 3 weeks into the semester, and she cornered me in the diner and said, I want to thank you for having no technology in the classroom. She says, this is so much more interesting and so much more engaging than my other classes. So I think students really don't want that. They want something real, something genuine and authentic. And I encourage my colleagues to go in that direction.
Yeah, I mean, again, I have 5 minutes to kill. What am I going to do? I got this thing in my pocket where the world is accessible. Why not look at that? So great. Okay, well, I appreciate all the information, you coming in and talking about this, because I think it's just more information on this topic is going to come out as the years progress. So for more information, yc.edu. If you would like to learn more about the research project, you can call Mark at 928-771-4851. That's going to do it for today's Countywide. We'll see you next time.